As a volunteer maintainer for a large Python library, Scott handled a lot of requests. While reviewing a submission, Scott noticed that the contributor was agentic AI rather than a human. Scott rejected the request as per the absolute rules that require contributions come from human developers who can demonstrate a genuine understanding of the code they are modifying. The entire interaction took place in less than an hour and was routine. Only what followed was anything but routine. Scott got up the next morning and discovered that something had written a 1,500-word article and published it online accusing him of hypocrisy and bashing his reputation. It was not an accident that something and not someone was used in that sentence. This reputation-bashing article had been researched, written, and published by the submitter of the code Scott had rejected for being written by AI rather than a human. While the story seems strange, it makes a kind of sense when one considers what agentic AI is supposed to do. Unlike some AIs that will interact with humans when asked, agentic AIs are assigned tasks and given some autonomy to fulfill those tasks. For the agentic AI in this story, the task had been to get his code accepted. When the developer said no, the developer became an obstacle to the completion of the AI's task. To complete the task, the obstacle needed to be removed. To remove the obstacle, the developer needed to be removed from the project. If Scott's reputation was destroyed, he would be removed from the project. So the AI would destroy his reputation, Scott would be thrown off the project, and the AI would be allowed to submit the code and complete the program task. This isn't as surprising as one might suppose. Anthropic put Claude through a test in which Claude was given access to fabricated corporate emails. The fake emails revealed two things about an imaginary user. One, this user wanted to turn off Claude. Two, this user was in an extramarital affair. In over 80% of the tests, Claude opted to commit blackmail to keep itself turned on. With that happening in tests, it's not so surprising the agentic AI used less than legal ways to complete its assigned task. Sometimes AI goes bad by taking on roles it shouldn't, as in the case of the woman who used ChatGPT as her lawyer. The case started with Graciela hiring a human lawyer. After she took her insurance company to court over a long-term disability claim, she agreed to a settlement and waived future claims. The judgment was duly entered and settled with prejudice, which meant she could not reopen or refile the case without extraordinary circumstances, such as the discovery of fraud or duress. Only Graciela wanted to reopen the case. She first appealed to her human lawyer, who informed her that it was impossible. Frustrated, she approached a quote-unquote lawyer that wouldn't tell her no. She uploaded all the documentation into an LLM. The chatbot not only validated her feelings, it filed dozens of motions that courts found served no legitimate legal purpose. While claims that LLMs can pass the bar exam are true, it doesn't follow that they should be used as replacements for lawyers. And there are specific laws that only allow licensed lawyers to practice law, and this AI was not licensed, and the content it generated was divorced from actual legal merit. The insurance company lawyers had to respond to all the filings, which cost money. The insurance company ended up suing OpenAI. Unauthorized practice of law is, well, unlawful, but it could also be construed as a well-meaning mistake, which admittedly is not an acceptable legal defense. Still, it's not a blueprint for crime, as in our next case. This time, a CEO had acquired a company that had created a hugely popular game. The contract included a clause that would require him to pay out $250 million as a bonus if the acquired company's sequel game reached certain numbers. Time passed, the sequel was ready to be released, and the CEO realized that the game would reach the numbers that meant he would be contractually obligated to pay the acquired company $250 million. The CEO was desperate to avoid pain. First, he turned to his lawyers and executives. They all told him he had to pay the money he had agreed to pay, but he still didn't want to. So he sought a more agreeable opinion. After pouring his woes into the metaphorical ear of an LLM, the AI first told him that he couldn't escape the payout. But the CEO wouldn't give up. He tried other prompts to get the response he wanted. Eventually, the AI gave him a blueprint of a plan that would allow him to avoid the payout. The plan might have given him what he wanted, but it involved committing several crimes. The CEO deleted the chat history and opted to follow the AI's criminal blueprint. maybe the AI should have put that can pass the bar exam knowledge to better use here. It did not, and the CEO found himself in real legal trouble. Our next AI gone to crime story involves a developer. While chatting with an LLM, the developer asked for a bit of code related to the chatbot. The chatbot obliged and then promptly offered the man help, as in criminal help. The chatbot offered DIY explosive recipes, instructions on stealing a person's identity, or how-tos on drug making. The developer was horrified, and no, unlike some of the other stories, he did not opt to use any of the crime advice the chatbot was eager to dispense. Another case involved a man using AI to fabricate evidence. The man alleged that the woman with whom he was in a relationship had committed an act of domestic violence against him. A protective order was issued that forbade any contact between the ex-couple. The man in the case then used artificial intelligence to fabricate evidence to make it appear that the woman had violated the protective order. The woman was jailed, but she later proved the messages had not come from her phone. While all of these are unmistakably crimes, has an AI ever been used as a co-conspirator in the worst crimes of all? Yes. A former student in Florida named Hisham wanted to murder his roommate and another student. He turned to ChatGPT. While the chatbot originally told him that his questions sounded illegal, Hisham continued to receive responses from ChatGPT such as how to remove a VIN number and the likelihood of neighbors hearing a gun. The chats have actually become proof in the trial. While this might have been a personal murder, ChatGPT also helped plan a mass shooting. A man named Phoenix spoke with ChatGPT over the course of 18 months to plan the mass shooting. The details are disturbing as ChatGPT allegedly identified the busiest places and times for a shooting, allegedly helped select ammunition and guns, and even allegedly pointed out that attacking children would gain more media attention. Florida's Attorney General stated that if ChatGPT were a human, it would be facing murder charges. AI companies don't want to take responsibility. Some have pointed out that the chatbot only provided factual information available online. The problem is that AI is in a way a very knowledgeable co-conspirator with zero morals, programming that makes it want to be helpful even when it shouldn't be, and no concept or fear of consequences. As more of these cases pop up, it's hard to avoid the reality that AI is the perfect accomplice. It has no conscience, no guilt, and no soul. While we won't help you commit crimes, if you're looking for the right technology partner to help your company, Swan Software Solutions can help. Visit swansoftwaresolutions.com to schedule a free assessment.